Welfare tycoon and philanthropist Azim Premji once said, "You cannot get into business for the fashion of it." 18 years ago, PC Musthafa and his 4 cousins started idfresh with 50,000 rupees, 1 grinder, 1 mixer and a second-hand scooty. It took them 9 months to sell 100 packets of dosa idli batter. As Musthafa would later describe, it was back-breaking work. For Musthafa, the decision to get into what was called a boring business, that of selling dosa and idli batter, was not by chance, but a choice. A son of a daily wage farm worker, it was a dream during his childhood to have 3 meals a day. But even as the business grew, and what may be surprising today, investors didn't find the business fancy enough and underestimated the potential. As a result, Musthafa had to sell his land in Kerala to set up idfresh's first factory. It took idfresh Food nearly a decade to raise its first round of institutional funding. Helion Venture Partners joined the cap table first, followed by Azim Premji, who didn't need convincing as he was a consumer of the brand. Today, ID Foods operates 6 batter and parota manufacturing units, including 1 in the UAE. Together, these factories can churn out 2.5 lakh kilograms of batter and 52,000 kgs of dough every single day, enough to make 44 lakh idlis and 9 lakh Malabar parotas, reaching consumers through e-commerce and 35,000 offline retail partners across 45 cities in India and abroad. idfresh has clocked over 500 crore rupees in revenue in FY23. Hello and welcome to Young Turks, India's longest running show on startups and entrepreneurship. I'm Shereen Bhan. What a story this is, one of grit and determination and also of a single-minded focus on the market and the consumer, exactly the kind of enterprise that builds legacy brands. Joining me is the protagonist of this story, PC Musthafa of idfresh Foods. Musthafa, always good to have you back on Young Turks. Thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity.
Well, Musthafa, let's start by talking about the story. It's been almost 20 years now since you decided to start idfresh Foods, 2005, with 25,000 rupees and 4 cousins in tow. That is how idfresh came along. But many people don't actually realize that your first funding round took place almost a decade later. So for the first 10 years, you pretty much bootstrapped your way to setting idfresh Foods up. As founders look at what's happening today, as founders go about raising funds today, diluting equity today, what is your single biggest message on the back of your own experience to them?
So in the case of ID, we started in a very small setup, as we know. It took us almost 10 years to get a first round of funding. But one thing that I have learned is, if you are able to manage business with profitability and positive cash flow, you won't need money. In fact, what I've learned is you should not go to the investors. Investors should come to you. Money should come to you. And that's what happened in the case of ID. So for the first 10 years, we ran the operation without taking any bank loan or any external funding. So even today, we are a zero debt, zero liability company. We don't pay interest, we don't take interest. And we did our first dilution only in 2014.
So, Musthafa, let's pick up on that, because as you said that if you are profitable and you build a business that is actually generating cash, investors will come to you. You don't need to go to the investors. You haven't taken on any debt either. But one would perhaps argue that if you had taken on investors perhaps earlier on in your journey, or perhaps even taken on debt early on in your journey, would you have been able to expand faster? Would you have been able to grow the business faster? How do you respond to that? And was that ever the argument that you had to sort of weigh and balance amongst the founders as you decided to move through the course of various decisions in your journey?
Yeah, so growth at any cost is not the philosophy, is not good for business. It is the philosophy of cancer cells, right? So we decided not to take bank loan because it was against our values. And we didn't want to take the route. That was the reason we didn't go the debt route. Now coming to the venture capital funding, we didn't need money. Business was sustainable. It was making profit. We were able to fund it. And we were able to grow the business to almost 40 crore revenue by 2014. And beyond the point, we needed money for expansion. And we took our first round funding in 2014.
Yes, first round of funding in 2014, and that's pretty much the time when you decided to expand beyond Bangalore, move into other cities, and of course today you are in global markets as well and looking to expand your global presence. And I want to continue on that and talk about some of the lessons that you have learned along the way. Now, you know, you're dealing with idli batter, dosa batter, and in your own words, this was not sexy enough for investors, or they didn't consider it sexy enough as a business opportunity, and they underestimated the market potential of a business like yours. But as you look at the maturation of the market today, and as you look at the headroom for growth from here on, what are the next big milestones that you're hoping to clock?
So the international expansion is something on cards, especially into markets like US, UK, Singapore. Those markets we are expanding. We are expanding to the other GCC countries like Saudi, Oman, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait and all. And of course, expanding to various cities in India. This is one aspect. And second would be penetrating existing markets. Basically, this is a category creation exercise. We are on the journey of category conversion. And the third would be new products.
So let's break that down. Let's talk about your foray into a market like the US, which, by the way, many may not know. You have tried that. You have tried that previously. It didn't work out. So this is, in a way, your second attempt at breaking into the US market. So let's understand by when you hope to be able to be present in markets like the US, in UK, etc. What kind of capital allocation are you providing for your global expansion?
So today we are present in 45 cities. That includes Middle East as well. Our UAE business contributes 1/3 of the revenue already. So that is giving us confidence to take the journey to the other cities and other countries. In fact, across Middle East, we will be available by end of this year. In fact, almost every markets we are already present. Other markets in the next 2 months we will be present. Coming to US and UK and Singapore, we will look at a 1-year plan to get our products to those markets. In fact, we're already working with a couple of partners in UK already to make the products available. We are now working with US and Singapore partners to make the products available. The main challenge with our product is, since these are highly...
So across the Middle East,
since these are highly perishable fresh food, you need to have a local manufacturing facility.
Yeah, it's a highly perishable product,
Yes.
Yeah. Right. And so local manufacturing is also going to have to be something that you continue to look at. But let's talk about the other aspect. One, of course, is market penetration. But let's also look at category creation. You've got a whole slew of products that you've already launched. In fact, you've now entered the Amul bastion with butter. Take me through what next now as far as category creation and new product launches are concerned.
So anything in the fresh category is something we will look at. Anything which is free from chemicals and preservatives is our journey. In fact, our journey is fighting a war against chemicals and preservatives in the food. All ID products are 100% natural, no chemicals, no preservatives, nothing artificial in it. We make it exactly the same way our grandmothers used to make at home. So for any large category packaged food, if there's a fresh take on it, that's the game.
Okay, if there's a fresh take on it, that's the game. But Musthafa, since you're talking about the mission really being a war against preservatives, chemical additives, etc., I want to take you back to what happened in 2021, where there was this social media backlash on the back of allegations that you were, in fact, using, rennets, etc., as part of the batter, and you came out very strongly against those allegations, defending not just the company but also lodging complaints against what was, in your words, a malicious campaign against the company. What was that experience really like for you? Because it was a war online against ID Fresh Foods. What did that experience teach you?
It was a crisis, but every crisis is an opportunity. We use the crisis properly to come out clean, and moreover, to take the message of war against chemicals and preservatives and keeping the products clean to millions of Indians across the world. And that really got us the real mileage that we are today. And we sort of had a 20% revenue growth in that 1 month just because of the campaign. So the way
but, I understand that you tried to create that adversity into an opportunity, But while you were in the midst of it, and and today you can look back, and you can look back with the benefit of hindsight and talk to me about that experience and what it taught you. But when you were in the midst of that crisis, to be able to gather together, to be able to strategize, to put together a plan on countering what was a massive offensive. Take me through what it was like in that period, and perhaps there would be lessons and learnings here for other founders as well who may have to face similar experiences, similar sorts of crises. What is it that you would tell them?
I would probably narrate a story what my IIM prof told me during my IIM days. You got to decide between the mindset of a rat and an elephant. If a rat has to cross MG Road, it will find its way. Nobody will make a note of it. It can take shortcuts. But if an elephant has to cross MG Road in Bangalore, the whole world will know about it. It's the same story with business as well. It's up to you to decide whether you want to be a rat or an elephant. You can't think like think and behave like a rat and become an elephant. So in the case of ID, we had nothing to hide. We made the whole thing transparent from day one, and even today. It's the product, the way of doing, and our factory, the whole thing is transparent. We have nothing to hide. And that, the mindset of an elephant from day one, helped us to behave like an elephant and not hide like a rat.
Well, that's a great story, and also a great lesson to share with other founders who are perhaps watching this and are experiencing their own adverse circumstances at this point in time. But Musthafa, part of the hero story of what you've been able to do with ID Fresh Foods is not just the consistency of the batter and the goodness of the batter, but it's also been the tech innovations, which perhaps oftentimes get unnoticed, but things that you've been able to experiment with, the nozzle, with the squeezing, and so on and so forth. I mean, take me through how crucial the tech side of the story has also been to ID Foods' success.
So there are one part about innovation as it is, and the ones that you're talking about, what are innovation that we have done with the squeeze, just squeeze batter, and what are formed in the right shape with a proper round hole in the middle. That's one innovation that we've done.
Yeah.
Our recent innovation is about the butter stick that we launched. Right, again, made the life easy for a customer. But tech at ID is an extremely important. Tech plays an extremely important role at ID. For a manufacturing company, technology is not just about mobile apps and internet. It's also about the backend. So automating the backend manufacturing process to build such a heavy volume business was extremely important for us. So let me share a story again with you. If you look at the traditional wet grinders available, it grinds around 1.5 kg of dal per hour. And today, as you know, we grind almost 60,000 kg of rice and dal per day. You can imagine the number of grinders required, number of people required, the inconsistency, quality inconsistency issues that comes along with it, the hygiene risk involved. It is impossible for us to scale to this kind of level without automating the backend. And we didn't have a heavy-duty wet grinder available. If you have to make the best idli, you need to have the best batter. To make the best batter, you need to have the traditional wet grinding, stone grinding technology our grandmothers used to make at home. We didn't know about a high heavy-duty wet grinding technology. As you would know, most of the food processing machineries are innovated in Germany. Unfortunately, Germans don't eat idli-dosa.
Yeah.
We had nothing to copy from. But we still ended up going to Germany, identified a mustard paste making machine, brought it to India, and customized it, make batter out of it. Today, the same size grinder grinds 5,000 kg of batter per hour, not 1.5 kg of dal per hour. So those kind of innovations really helped us to scale up and build the quality consistency and reduce the cost at the back end. Coming to the technology, the information technology that we use, ID runs on IT, and that's a fact. I come from a background. If you look at the complexity in this business, we do go to around 40,000 outlets every day with around 10 products. And every transaction, every product involves placement, replenishment, cash collection, settlement. Right? So you can imagine almost 1 million plus transactions every day. And you have to get everything right because you're dealing with highly perishable fresh food. When we started this journey, initial days, we were sending 100 packets to market, 90 used to come back unsold. Over a period of 3 years, we started sending 2,000 kg to the market, 500 used to come back unsold. There was no way for us to build a profitable, scalable business with that kind of wastage. So fixing wastage was the most critical aspect for a fresh food business. And that too, a food business without chemicals and preservatives. It is not easy. That's where we invested in technology. We started capturing store-wise, item-wise, and wastage data for the last 10 years on a daily basis. And we now use this data to predict the demand at the route level, van level, at the product level. Today, with the technology in place, in a matured city, matured product, we run at less than 2% wastage with a highly perishable fresh food with 3 to 6 day shelf life.
Wow.
Not easy. That's the journey we are traveling. Across ID,
No, it's certainly not easy, but I want to continue to talk about how IT drives ID, but and where those innovations are going to come from. And I believe you've got one coming up as far as dosas are concerned. And I would imagine for people like me, like you, I don't know whether my dosa is going to end up drawing the map of India, Australia, or Sri Lanka either, Musthafa. So we'll talk about that in just a second when we return on Young Turks. We're back with PC Musthafa of ID Fresh Foods right after this short break. Welcome back. You're watching this special edition of Young Turks, and we're speaking with PC Musthafa of ID Fresh Foods. Just before the break, we were talking about how technology has enabled a drastic cut in wastage as far as ID Fresh Foods is concerned, and also helped them innovate with their hero product. So, Musthafa, I want to talk about some of those innovations as well. The latest, of course, is this butter stick. Where do these ideas come from? Is it you that really drives the tech innovation side of the story? And what's next? What should we expect?
So the role of an entrepreneur is to look around, identify customer problems, and solve it using common sense for the customers. This is one such issue that we identified in one of the customer study, and we thought we should solve it. And the inspiration came from the glue stick, the Fevi stick. We replicated the same concept and made butter stick out of it. It is doing well in the market, well accepted.
You're saying it's doing well. What's the initial response been in terms of numbers? If you can share those with us.
Too early. We launched only in limited stores. In our first batch, we produced only around 10,000 pieces, and that sold out. And we now order for the next batch.
Okay.
It's just a trial run, and let's see how the market responds, and then we'll
a trial run. Okay.
Yes.
What else is in the trial phase at this point in time that we can soon see out in the market? What's next on the product innovation side?
There are many products that we're working on, as I mentioned to you, right? For any businesses, if you work on 10 products, you might get 5 right. And when you launch 5, you might get 2 right. And that's usually the success rate, 10 to 5 to 2. In the case of ID, it's the other way around. It's, if you launch 2 products, if you make 2 products successful in the market, you still need to launch 5. That's right. But if you launch 5, you have to work on 50. The reason being, it's not easy to get production 5 without adding chemicals and preservatives. And keeping the products 100% natural, free from any preservatives and artificial flavors is not easy. So to get those 2 products super in the market, we got to work on 30, 40 products. And there are a lot of such initiatives in progress today. And one such product was about
what do you feel most confident about?
The one that we're just launching is the freshly frozen fruit blend. We launched that product in Middle East.
Okay.
We have seen very great response. 100% natural, just natural fruit blend, freshly frozen. We launched that product in the market. Great response from GCC market. We thought we'll launch it in India. In fact, this week we are launching it in India. Today, in fact, as we speak...
Okay, this week you're going to be launching your next product.
Yes, as we speak, today our products are available in Bangalore stores.
Well, we look forward to hearing from you on the response and the reaction here. But, I remember reading a quote from you where you said that, you're hoping that as far as the dosa itself is concerned, that you'll be able to come out with an innovation that helps consumers put together a consistent, well laid out dosa. And for people like me, I mean, that would be a godsend. So when do we see that?
Maybe another 6 months. We have a prototype done already. In fact, I just put up the prototype video on the LinkedIn, on my social media pages, and we had received millions of orders, in fact, already. So we are now working probably to fine tune it. In the next few months, maybe 6 months down the line, we should be launching that product in the market. You should be able to make crispy, round shape.
I'm going to be looking forward.
Not the shape of Sri Lanka.
Crispy, round shape.
Yes.
Not the same shape of Sri Lanka. I hope not. But I look forward to that. But PC, I want to understand from you. 500 crores. That is a milestone that's already been clocked now as far as FY23 is concerned. What is the aspiration that you have from here in terms of where you would like to see this business in terms of size and in terms of profitability as well?
So profitability-wise, we have reasonably good profitability, very, very high gross margins in all of them. So the a steady state, we will probably do much better. But I would say 2 years, 1,000 crore number with at least a 12-13% EBITDA is on cards.
1,000 crores in 2 years, 12 to 13% EBITDA. IPO, is that something that you aspire for?
Yes. Once we cross 1,000, we will.
By when? Okay, so once you cross 1,000, that's when you will consider heading to Dalal Street.
Yes. 2 to 3 years.
Before I let you go, Musthafa, Okay, 2 to 3 years. Before I let you go, you shared some do's and don'ts and some of your key learnings with us. If I were to ask you, outside of what you've already shared, if there is one thing that you would, that from your own journey, your own experience as an entrepreneur, you would like to share with other entrepreneurs who are scaling up. Starting up is the easy part. Scaling up perhaps is the more challenging and complex aspect. On scaling up, what is it that you would like to leave here on the show with us?
Innovation. Focus on innovation. That's the best way to build a strong brand and to stay out of competition. Focus on innovation. And for innovation, build a culture with common sense. Common sense is the most important ingredient for innovation. And innovation is the best way to build a strong brand and to stay out of competition.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck, Musthafa, with your plans to innovate further with your new product launches, as well as your aspiration to IPO in the next 2 to 3 years. It's been fabulous to bring you back on the show and talk about the ID Fresh Food story. Appreciate you joining us here and sharing your experience with us. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Young Turks. Thanks very much for watching. Do stay tuned. The news will continue on the other side of the break.